So the truck's back in the garage and we have to try and figure out how to fully flex the suspension so that we can figure out front shock mounting. So I need to do some cutting because I tried flexing it and the tires physically stop at the bedsides and then they won't continue. It won't flex anymore. So what I'm doing is on the Tacoma, there's this chip guard that's on the fender flare. And so it stops at a kind of body line here that's just barely highlighted. So I'm taking my Sharpie and trying to mimic that line all the way around the flare. That should give me enough clearance to flex it. And if it doesn't, then we'll make a new line and we'll cut further. But that's what I'm doing for now. So take you around to the driver's side where I've already marked that line. And you can just kind of see my Sharpie mark there. It's a little bright in here, but you can see the Sharpie line. So I've gone around that. We're going to cut it. And we're gonna hook a strap and cherry picker up to the front wheel. Try and flex it. So I already did that yesterday and we ran into the opposition here with the bedside at the tire. So we're gonna cut until it fits. Okay, so don't critique me too bad because this is temporary at best because, well, it's getting fiberglass. But we needed the clearance so we can do our flex test. So, and they're gonna be on there until the fiberglass shows up. And I don't know if that's gonna happen before we get it on the road. So that gives us the clearance we should need to do our flex testing. Save you the details, but yeah. Little brace there, the bolt broke off because we knew it would, because that's what happens. Same thing on the back, bolts broke off. And then this one on the top, I can't get the bolts because the heads are so rusty, they're all swelled up. So for now, that's just gonna hide up there. And when we get ready to do the fiberglass, we're gonna build some sort of a stabilizer bracket to catch that lip. So, but yeah. I think this will do what I need it to do. We got to do it to the other side and the front, and then we'll get to our flex testing. All right, so I got all 4 fenders cut, and now we're gonna hook a strap through this wheel and try and flex it again until something else hits. Okay, so at 30 inches under this front tire, the front tire is starting to hit the tub up here. So we need to do a little bit of trimming. I may need to modify my bumper slightly. But yeah, that's a long ways. That is a long ways. So that has my bump stop almost bottomed out here in the front. So that's, if I can trim it so it fits there, I probably will be all right without modifying the bumper. The rear still has, I've got clearance now. And there's a little bit of clearance, like the shock shaft isn't totally bottomed out. I got a little bit left there on the shaft. So that'll be real close to where I want to set my bumps up. You can see the spring has just a tiny bit of negative arch. That looks pretty crazy though. Poser flex shot. Pretty nuts. That's a long way. I mean, 30 inches under the front tires on this short of a wheelbase, which we measured it out. I forget what Chris, it was like 112 inches maybe, I think 112 and a half, something like that. So Yeah, not too bad for some leaf springs and stuff. Coil springs, not coil overs. It's pretty good on a little short truck. Okay, back in the garage working on the project. And yeah, I don't know. Still a ways to go. The back's pretty much done. We are just welding a plate underneath the radiator to protect that. So if you do break over something, you're not gonna have a stick coming up through the radiator. I gotta get that welded. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. And then on the track bar, I have bent up this little piece that I'm gonna brace to the, try and brace to wrap the inside of the frame with. Try and add a bunch of rigidity to the track bar mounts. We don't want that ripping off the frame. So, got the steering shaft length figured out. We got that painted, welded, painted up. Now I need to cut and fabricate a plate because that shaft is going to come through the firewall in a different position. So what I've done is taken my original plate, traced that onto a piece of flat stock. I'm going to plasma that out, figure out where the holes got to go, and then I think we're going to get a piece of flat rubber, sandwich it together, just cut a little X through it to push the shaft through that piece of rubber. So I believe that's how it's going to go. Hopefully it works out as easy as it sounds as I'm talking. Time will tell. By the way, the new table the boys brought me, game changer. Oh my gosh. Not being on the floor trying to draw on stuff and hammer on stuff or fight it dancing around on some sketchy stands. This is sweet. Obviously it's a flat surface, so it's already covered in crap, but it's just sweet. So just working my way through doing the steering setup. So I got the brakes out of here because we got to change those anyway also. So with it out of the way, it's easier to see what I'm doing. But I just plasma cut out that new plate and then took some measurements, figured out where the shaft's going to come through it. And now I got to go get a piece of rubber and make something to cover the hole. Okay, so we got the factory brake booster from the Tacoma out on the bench, and we have our Tundra dual diaphragm replacement here also on the bench. You can see we already started playing around. So it's important to measure your distance from the flat surface of the brake booster here where it mounts to the firewall to the center of the pin where it connects to the brake pedal so that you have the same amount of travel, the same throw. So that's what we're doing right now. This super sweet kit that we got from Trail Toys is gonna help us do that. So they have provided this coupler piece. We have unthreaded the factory fork from the Tundra because that will not fit the Tacoma booster. So we unthread that factory fork. We put this adapter in place that they provided, and then we have to take the fork and lock nut from the Tacoma booster, swap it over, and then replicate our dimension, which from that surface to the center of the pin. So that's what we're working on right now. Then we're gonna go ahead and get the master cylinder bolted up. Again, there's a spacer coupler that goes between the booster and the master, so that we make sure we have the appropriate length rod there. So we're getting the travel of the cylinder to push the fluid out. We've got to bench bleed the master and all that stuff. So just trying to get things set up here. Keep moving forward while we are waiting for the paint to dry on our steering shaft boot. So factory rubber that was behind the original coupler cut that out to utilize as gasket material. We got some black sealant here. We're going to kind of glue where I cut it and I shouldn't have, but also glue it to this extra piece of rubber that I used, which I cut some little grooves out of to try and give us somewhat of a tight fit, keep exhaust fumes and whatnot out of the cab. So, but meanwhile, that's drying over there. And we're gonna keep plugging away. So here we go. Via some different advice, looking around online, somebody had suggested using the Dodge Ram master cylinder. Well, the Dodge Ram master cylinder is not what is spec'd out in the Trail Toys kit. The Trail Toys kit suggests a GM 1-ton master cylinder. So I had to modify my Dodge master cylinder just slightly. The whole pattern is a fuzz off. So we cut those holes and slotted them, but it mounts super solid. And I did have to adjust the adapter piece in there, but everything looks like it's gonna work out good. So hopefully we can get this put in. Now also, the master cylinder does not give you a separate port for the clutch fluid. With the factory Toyota reservoir, the clutch fluid was utilized the same reservoir for both the clutch and brake. So I did pick up a Honda Civic. So from 92 to 2000, the Honda Civics with the manual transmission utilized little fluid reservoir. So I picked this up at the junkyard and we're gonna mount this and use this as our fluid reservoir for our clutch. But yeah, the steering piece should be dry. Hopefully we can get that installed and then we can get work on getting this brake booster installed. All right, so we are just tightening up the cover plate where the column goes through the firewall. We have the power steering gearbox mounted for the last time. Hopefully the final time iteration, we hope. So got to put a couple bolts in it there. And then, yeah, we're going to get the brake booster installed. And we'll see what else that leads us to. We are going to be waiting on a couple of parts. The shock mounts, some shock bushings, and some coil spring isolators. So, but we're gonna keep plugging away and get as far as we can. Okay, so got the brake master cylinder and booster bolted up into place. You can see it is touching that electrical box. It's super close, but it does clear. We got the steering column hooked up with our plate in there, and the gearbox is actually hooked up to the lines. So you can see the factory return line for the Tacoma. I was able to just slide on the existing barb of the IFS gearbox and clamp it. The pressure line came with the IFS gearbox from the 1986 to 1994 IFS 22RE truck. Actually threads right in. So the line that comes out of the power steering pump for the Tacoma looks like this. So it's like a banjo bolt in style fitting. However, if you look at the end of this banjo bolt, it's actually got the flared style hydraulic fitting, and that's the type of fitting that was on the end of that line. So that IFS gearbox line just simply threaded into the box, tightened up, feels good. So yeah, making some major progress today. The column is all hooked up inside. We've got that done. Oh, it's kind of hard to tell. But yeah. Just keep charging forward. Hopefully we can see this thing on the road sooner than later.